awesome. And everything hasn't blown up, so that's a good thing. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, how do you do?
Hi, hi.
And we're gonna be talking about a wee little film called Animal World. Uh,
Mhm. And it has one animal in it, just one.
yes. Uh, really? It has one?
Yeah, it's got a tiger in it.
Oh shit, yeah. You can tell I was paying attention.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. I
so
mean, it turns up a few times, but doesn't really do anything. It's just kind of there, like, hello, I am animal.
it's like an exotic prop more than anything else.
Yeah,
Like we could afford it, so why not?
yeah, it was weird. Oh well. More on the tiger later.
If we remember. But
I will. I
oh
will.
my
I
god.
specifically was like, I'm annoyed that there's a tiger here and they haven't done anything with it.
I know you'd think they'd feed something to it, or someone
Yeah.
to it.
Also, the fact they keep cutting back to it, I was like, "Is that tiger gonna escape and eat people?" And I was waiting for that the whole movie, and it didn't happen. Disappointing. Anyway.
Yeah. So you found out about this film last week, right?
I did, yeah. I had
Uh
no idea what this was until you told me about it.
yay. Okay, so what do you think of it?
I had a good time with it. I thought it was mad. It gave me, like, kind of what's it? Sucker Punch vibes.
Little bit, yeah. I
Yeah.
can hardcore
Uh,
understand that.
yeah, it gave me Sucker Punch vibes and Squid Game vibes sometimes.
Yeah. Um, there were a couple of shots in there, especially when it came to the fight scenes, that were just straight up Sucker Punch, but with
Yeah.
like beasties and a clown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those instances where I will say the trailer kind of misrepresented the film
Oh, yeah.
hardcore.
I was like, "Oh, okay then. So, okay. Alright then." Like, we'll get into it later. I was like, "Okay, so I thought this movie was about a clown. It kinda is, but also it kinda isn't anything
Yeah.
to do with the clown."
It's like, how can we make this a little bit more exciting? I know. How about we have
Clown.
a monster hunting clown in a cyberpunk train? Sure.
I mean, it had my attention in the trailer. I was like, "What is this?"
And then you watch the movie and it's like a really intricate puzzle game, and it's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I wasn't expecting a puzzle game, so okay.
Yeah. I
I'm
was
alright with
pleasantly
this.
surprised after seeing it as well. I was like, oh, not quite what I expected, but okay, because I saw the trailer for this way back, I think in like 2018 or something when we went to the cinema. And I was like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
looks mental. And then after
Let's watch it.
watching it, I was like, okay, it was good, but there's nothing like the trailer presented it.
Yeah. Good job it was still good then, isn't it?
God, genuinely.
I really
Um,
liked it. I
fantastic.
I did have some issues with it though, but they're,
So,
like, really, like oh, 1 second.
oh, no problem. But yeah, even I had issues with it, so it's a good thing we're going to be going through this bit by bit so that we can talk about the good, the bad, and everything else that's involved with it in near excruciating detail. Or maybe we'll pass through a lot of it. Who knows? But until Amy gets back, I guess I'll tell you guys I went to watch the new Sword Art Online movie. And that is a message. Oh my. And yeah, the Sword Art Online movie. It was, you know what? The only thing I lament about the fact that the new Sword Art Online movie is the fact that it is actually related to Sword Art Online. Because when you look at the progressive movie and you see Asuna's journey, and then you see Kirito and his journey, and all the secondary characters all being built up, it's a nice tight movie with a really good arc to it. But at the end of the day, the film is hamstrung by the fact that it has to end a certain way. So while the arcs go beautifully all the way to the end, after the final battle, I mean, if you've seen Sword Art Online, you know exactly how it progresses, where Kirito puts on the black swordsman uniform, which, you know, not my black swordsman. Guts will forever be the black swordsman. But he dons the armor, he dons the cloak and the sword, and then he goes out all by himself. So, because we have that related to the overall narrative, this film ends up falling apart hardcore because now, not only do we need to have a film that justifies
Hello.
the art. Oh, hey, I was just ranting about the Sword Art Online movie.
That's fine. I'm interested. I mean, I haven't seen anything Sword Art online, but I've heard like people have problems with it.
Oh, it's dog shit, but I went to see it, the new movie, on Friday, and
Ah,
it's the best piece of Sword Art Online content so far that I've seen. But the only thing that holds it back from being a good movie is the fact that it's related to Sword Art Online, because they're
oh dear.
hamstrung by having to adhere to what has already been told. So they have to just kind of malform the narrative they've made so that it fits with what already exists. So that's the biggest criticism there. Aside from that, the first hour and 20 minutes was decent, but the last 10 minutes is awful.
Oh no. So
Yeah,
it did a uh, midnight mass then.
it wasn't as bad. But basically,
Ah,
yeah, like it wasn't offensively bad like Midnight Mass, but it was more like quiet disappointment than anything else. Because I'm like, I kind of expected that, but yeah, it was all right.
fair enough.
Like
I get,
if for example Violet Evergarden had a Midnight Mass like ending, I would have been like,
oh,
oh,
I'd be so mad.
I would have gone nuclear in the cinema.
Mm.
Oh, right. So, overall, what I'm gathering is you like the movie.
I liked it, yeah, but I had issues with it.
Sweet, sweet. Um, naturally, as we do, we will go through it. But was there anything that stood out to you as especially good or
Mm,
especially bad?
um, I thought like some of the characterization was good, but like the part where he magically started being really good at math, that kind of threw me because like that didn't happen until like an hour into the movie. And it was just like, oh, he's just super good at math. Like, where did that come from?
There, this that was an example of the film being way too subtle for its own good because
Mm,
when he met the guy who ripped him off at the beginning in the arcade,
mhm.
um, he was talking about, hey, you were always good, you know, why didn't you do anything with your life kind of thing. And it's like, okay, so it's setting it up,
Yeah.
but simultaneously he just blitzed his way through a really hard Sudoku puzzle. So
Oh yeah.
that's kind of like the setup for it, and rather than reinforcing it, they went right to the payoff where he was, you know, doing all the calculations with the cards. So if they
Yeah.
had like a, a scene in between the setting it up and the paying it off, it would have been
Yeah.
a lot more narratively cohesive. But I
Yeah.
can understand why it would be out of nowhere.
Yeah, it just seemed like I was like, it's cool that it's like sort of also like here's some more information about why he's obsessed with the clown cartoon. It's because it was like the thing playing when I think his dad
Bad
was
things
killed.
happened.
Bad things happen. Um, and it was like, oh, his dad was a maths teacher, so that's kind of like, oh, so that's kind of cool.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was because In, I think it's Alice in Borderland that I've been watching, the main character in that is, like, super good at games, and, like, early
Right.
on we're shown this guy's obsessed with video games, he's really good at them, like, that's part of his character. But, like, I feel like if they just waited until, like, an hour in and they were like, "This guy's really good at video games," it would be like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, okay." It
Like
was
if
very,
episode
like,
two
what
they bring up, oh
Yeah,
hey, video games, like wait, what? We're in
yeah.
the second episode, bro. Where was this?
Also,
Yeah.
if you read the blurb, it's like, "Super good guy at maths enters this tournament thing," and it's like an hour before you find out that he's good at maths, because it's
Yeah.
very easy to miss the fact that he's doing a Sudoku puzzle. Um, I missed it, so it did just come across as like, "Oh, you've just given him a skill now, okay."
Yeah.
I would have
Um
liked more development on it, just a little bit more than just like, "Oh, look, he's doing a really hard maths thing."
it could have literally just been a scene where um his friend in the hospital could have been like, "Hey, I'm really struggling." He's like, "Oh, hey, let me have a look at your books or something like that." Just something really
Yeah,
quick, cutaway where he's helping her with her finances or something like that. A minute or two at most, and
yeah.
you might have been able to get away with it. I mean, I would have rather they do that instead of that pointless fucking car scene where he's in the car
Oh,
chase.
that was really weird. Like, at that point, I was like, "Okay, so how do these work? Are they hallucinations? Are they him imagining himself as the clown? What's going on here?" Like, that's part of what another issue I had with the hallucination stuff. It just felt like it was there for reasons.
Yeah,
Sometimes it seemed like it was like, oh, he's having sort of like a breakdown because his emotions, and I was like, "Oh, that's kinda cool." Like, because I wanna make a film about BPD and how to, like, sort of show that visually, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of a cool idea, I might nick that."
yeah,
But
because there was
yeah, I was just
sometimes.
like,
No, go on.
the car chase, there's literally I understand him being scared of a needle, but, like, that was so confusing because it was like, "Wait, he what?"
So, like, what this is
I
a
was like,
theory, and what I imagine what they were going for was like the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock, where it's like, oh, look at how far he's able to think ahead and then
"Oh,
see all the
yeah."
strategy, and then subverting it by having the guy shoot him anyway. And I'm like,
Mm,
okay, but you already had it where while the guy was walking up to him, you had the clown just kind of breaking out and saying, nah, let's not do this, go away, kind of thing.
yeah,
So you already had that. So to double down on it and
yeah,
waste time just was a bit pointless, really. And that came at the expense of really setting up just how much of a good boy he is when it comes to the numbers.
yeah. Yeah, like, that scene, I was like, "Why was that there? What did I learn? I did not learn anything about the character. Why he's having clown," I was like, "hallucinations, visions, whatever," because I got very confused. I was like, I didn't get, "Oh, he's planning ahead" vibes. I just got, "He's scared, he running away because emotionally distressed." And then it was like, "Okay, we're getting the same scene again." I was like, "Is this a time loop now? What's happening?" And then it was like, "Oh, he just got shot anyway."
Yeah, it's
And I was
a.
like, "Then the point was?"
Genuinely, you could have cut that entire scene out and nothing would have changed.
The point was, let's have a cool car chase because reasons, I think.
Like, I don't know, compared to how the rest of the film is, it
Seems
felt
so
like
out
a
of place.
mandate. Like
Yeah.
an executive said, it's not exciting enough. Put a car chase in there. That's what it feels like when you're watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just didn't need to be there, and it was just like, why? If you were gonna have him get captured anyway, what was the whole point? Or, like, if you were gonna have a car chase, maybe still have him do that, but have him just get caught anyway.
Yeah, um, it was. I think we both agree it was a waste of time. That could
Yeah.
have been a time that could have been used elsewhere to develop the narrative. Because as soon as he gets on the ship, the pacing becomes airtight. Like it is
Oh, yeah.
immaculate.
It felt like it was trying to be 2 different films sometimes. And also, after a good chunk of it, you don't get any clown isms. It's like, why is that It's an
Yeah,
interesting thing to suggest, look, it's an interesting, like, kind of visual of he's distressed,
yeah,
but,
it's almost like
it's
his
yeah.
will trying to break free and uh, all sorts of tisms where he's like, oh, okay, this is the real version of me. I just want to break free instead of just being conformed and stuff like that, kind of like that inner
Yeah.
rage kind of thing. But yeah,
Yeah, I just got it as it's when he's angry because at the start of the film it was like, "I'm crazy," and this clown, like, appears when I'm angry or scared and things try and attack me, which is why I was like, "Oh, it's a hallucination then." And I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, also, are you trying to tell us that this character may have schizophrenia?
yeah,
Are you
because
trying to tell us they have a mental illness? And if so, why are you not telling us what the mental illness is?"
yeah,
That gave me I was a bit irritated by that because I was like, "If he's got a mental illness, he's not crazy."
yeah. I never got the mental illness or
I was
crazy
so
thing.
no, but he literally he says, "I am crazy, and the doctors are telling me I'm crazy, and that's why I'm irritated." Because it's like, why is that in there if you're not actually gonna even do anything with it? It's just there.
Yeah,
And then at the end of the movie, he goes, "I'm still crazy." So I'm just like, now you're annoying me, film.
yeah,
This
like
niggly thing there.
it's the and everything with the clown and the monster. Like if the clown was just a representation of his rage, fine, because oh he was powerless to stop the death of his father or something like that. You can
Yeah.
link into that, fine. But then the constant reinforcing is, oh yeah, I'm crazy. It's like, oh no, no, you don't need that. It's fine. It's
No.
cool. You can just be
We don't
anger.
need to be told you're crazy, and yeah, you can be angry, it could be just your way of because it's a trauma thing that happened to him. So, it could just be his way of dealing with trauma.
Yeah,
Just leave it at that, but it comes up in random points of the movie sometimes where it's like, "Why is it happening now?" Like, I get when
yeah,
he's
like the
angry,
full-on
but y
transitions
y
to the
yeah.
clown bro.
Yeah. Like, when you full on first see him turn into the clown, I was like, "Is he angry?" I don't know, because he got a bit of popcorn flicked at him by the
Yeah.
guy by the guy, and then he just full on turns into a train. It turns into, like, a train scene where he's beating up monsters, and I was like, "I okay."
Yeah, it
I was
was
just fully like, "Why is this happening?" Because I thought it was just a rage thing. Because it literally says in the intro, like, voiceover, "It happens when I'm emotionally distressed." I'm like, "Are you telling me a piece of popcorn being flicked at you distressed you that much?" And then you find out the guy's actually his friend, so I'm like, "Are you why are you angry at your like, it didn't the entire interaction right after the clown train scene does not link up with somebody who's really emotionally distressed and angry." It was like, "What?"
yeah, like per personally I would have much rather preferred if the clown bro, like the hardcore clown bro was kind of having this flashing moments like they did just
Yeah,
prior
like
to
the
the
flash
car
bit.
scene, where he's like trying to break out or something like that, almost as if warning
Yeah.
him, "Hey, this bro's not up to no good. Don't trust him," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which
I
may
I
lead to
think
him being hesitant when he's like, "Hey, where's your deeds to the house, bro? I trust me, bro." Like,
yeah. See, because there was a bit where the clown flashes before he starts punching somebody, and that's why it's like I think it's, like, suppressing his anger.
hmm,
Like, I think the clown may be, like, when he fully transitions into the clown, it's like, "That's it, my ability to control my anger's gone." That's what I read from it, but then because it, like, fully transitioned into him fully being the clown just after a bit of popcorn got flicked at him, it was like, "Okay, so how does this work?"
like I like to compare this the transition to the clown in the cyberpunk monster world to being, let's do Sucker Punch without actually
Yeah.
putting the thought behind why this happens.
Yeah, because in Sucker Punch, she's dancing, and it's like the dance is probably actually very erotic, but they've done a really interesting thing with it where, in her mind, she's fighting bad guys and stuff, and that's how she deals with it.
Yeah, whereas in this
And
one, it's like, hey, that's a cool idea. Let's do it over here. Why? Not quite sure,
just
but we have the
cause.
money.
Yeah. Like it would have been a really cool thing if somebody was like attacking him or something and he just went, "Oh hell no," and then, we get a clown scene and it's him imagining him fighting said person.
Yeah,
That's what I thought I was gonna get. But it was like he got popcorn flicked at him and then it was like, "Oh, I'm gonna murder everybody."
like for example, a little bit later on in the film, he beats up the hospital patient. Like
Yeah.
maybe instead of showing him getting beating the hospital patient, just transition into the train scene where he's beating up monsters, and then we see the repercussions later on, just as we did later.
Yeah.
That would
Like
have worked a lot better.
after the train scene happened, because at first I was okay with that. I was like, "Oh, he's angry." And then it was like, "Oh, what is it gonna look like when we cut away from the train scene?" Because I was like, "Has he just beaten a bunch of people up without realizing it?" And then it was just him talking with his friend, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
It's pretty chill, actually. That's weird.
He's fairly chill for someone who seems really pissed off.
Yeah, like I think that's yet another example of the scenes where it needed to be somewhere else as opposed to where it was, and
Yeah.
some scenes needing to be dropped entirely and needing adding like this script needed like one more draft to really
Mm,
tighten it up in the first act rather, because acts 2 and 3 are pretty tight.
yeah.
So yeah, next up he's in the hospital, and this is a segment where he is really struggling. We find out that he is struggling even more for money, worse
Mhm.
than we initially thought, because when he was talking to his friend, he was like, "Oh no," he's like, "Look, I can look after myself, and my mom is fine." But then a hospital is like begging his friend, "Hey, I just need a little bit of money, please, 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 please," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um. Oh shit! Yeah. Before that, did
Girlfriend who is not girlfriend shows up.
yeah, it's like that classic. Oh my god! It's like we're totally not together. But then at the end of
Yeah.
the film, it's like we are totally together. It's like shocking. Anyway,
I never would have expected this. Yeah.
it's like when two of your best friends are constantly flirting, and a year later they finally tell you, "Hey, we're together," and I'm like, "Yes, I have eyes."
Yeah. They're like,
It's
"Oh, sorry, I don't know if you knew this, we're together." It's like, "No. Were ya?"
like I am shocked. Anyway,
Tell me some news that I don't know.
yeah. Um, I suppose we've all got people like that in our lives.
Yeah. To be fair, I think a lot of people thought I was like that with my partner. It was like, you can be friends with someone before you date them. It is a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, absolutely. I prefer that actually,
Mm.
which is why it takes so goddamn long for me to ask people out.
Oh no.
But what I was going to say, um, you know Kaiji, right?
Yeah.
This is based on Kaiji.
Oh, I didn't. Oh wait, no.
Yeah, Kaiji Ultimate Survivor. That's where they got the rock paper scissors game from.
Ah. Oh, yeah, it's based on a comic, isn't it? Is that the comic Kaiji?
Yeah, Kaiji Ultimate
Yeah.
Survivor.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, so yeah, this hospital scene is really interesting, and it would have been far more interesting with the train fight here instead, because at
Yeah.
the start he was like, "Oh hey, can I borrow 1,000?" But then he goes through he gets angry, he beats the guy up, he goes through the fight in the train, and afterwards he's getting patched up, and he's like, the friend actually offers him, "Hey, do you know what? Fuck it, here you go." And then he goes, "No, do you know what? Never mind. It's cool. I'll figure it out," because he understands what he's done and his impulsiveness. So there's a much better mini story within this film here if they just shifted that scene like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Um.
I thought you were going to say something, which is why I
There was just
held.
awkward silence, and I was like, "Need to make noise."
Noise. But I thought it was a really interesting character moment there as well, because not much is said. There's nothing blatant. It's all performance and writing, all
Yeah.
subtext rather than surface level text, which I
Yeah.
love considering how much we've been getting it in the West, where it's like, "Hey, I hate you." No. Yes. Okay. Um, like, there's a certain level of subtlety in this film I very much appreciate and wish
Yeah.
we got more of these days.
Oh yeah, I like that. I liked his relationship with his girlfriend, not girlfriend.
Hmm.
I thought it was kind of well acted. Like I got the sense that they liked each other, but they were just like
In a shit situation.
in a shit situation, and it seemed like he was kind of too proud to be like, "Look, I want to be with you," kind of thing. It was just seemed more like it was a situation of I don't have enough money, so I don't want to hold you back, kind of thing.
Exactly. Because
But then, sorry, yeah, you
I'm
go.
not going.
But then she was just straight up like, "I already like someone. They just won't marry me," and I was like, "Oh dang,
Yeah, and
your move, dude."
it's that age-old thing where the guy's like, "Look, I do want to support. I do want to put something into this relationship. I'm just not at that point yet, and I don't want to hold you back. So if you find someone, I'm gonna hate it, but fine." And she just goes, "Nah, I'll wait." And it's like, "Oh,
It's very
love."
cute. And I was like, "Oh, cute." And yeah, it's all very subtle glances and stuff like that. And then obviously the line where she's like, "I already found someone," was just straight up. But it was like it got to a point where I think she was just like, "I'm fed up. I'm just gonna straight up say I don't care. I want to be with you."
Yeah, and this relationship was written in a very believable manner. Like, it's
Hmm.
not. You can believe there are two people like this in this situation that are like this. There's a
Yeah,
certain authenticity to the writing and the performance of this relationship that really helps.
yeah. There were times though where I'm like, "He's an asshole. Leave him. Run away."
Ah, yeah, we've all got those moments, believe me.
Hmm.
um, and I think it's really awesome as well uh, because he wants to be worthy of her in a way. It's like, okay, do you know what? My friend asked, said there's a chance that we can make this work. Fine, let's take a chance. Let's put a gamble down. Let's see what happens. And then the friend ends up betting it all away in a casino,
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, thanks,
lovely,
bro.
nice friend there.
Yeah, I guess it's like you're down on your luck already. Your job's shit. Your pay's crap. You're barely making through. And then your friend sells the one thing you got. And it's like, wow, thanks. I really appreciated that. You asshole.
Yeah,
But then it really speaks to the desperation that the family is under as well. Because medical bills cost a ton.
yeah.
So,
Which is why I don't get why people are abusive to NHS staff. It's like, you get your medical care for free, you motherfucker. Oops.
no,
Sorry.
it's fine. Like these
It,
days,
it it
we
does
do have to
anger
pay a
me.
lot more. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, being without a nationalized healthcare system, it sucks because it costs a ton, and it can
Yeah.
genuinely bankrupt entire families if things aren't sorted right away. And that's
Yep.
the situation he is in. So the fact that the last drop of money that they could have made is now gone because of his friend who he trusted just
Yeah.
further adds to that desperation where when the game comes up and it's like you can play the game and risk death, or
Yeah.
you can work the rest of your life and die alone. It's like, fuck it, let's play the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can definitely see where the Squid Game comparisons are coming
Oh
from.
yeah. I was like, oh dang, yeah, this is very similar. Except like one of the character like it's kind of like in Squid Game, Gi-hun's sort of got a gambling addiction, but for a different reason. Like he gambles because he wants to be able to, provide, whereas the friend seems to just gamble because he's a greedy motherfucker.
Yes, and the one
Just for
time,
reasons.
absolutely, and the one time our lead character decides to gamble at something and take a risk on something, he gets punished so hard
Yeah.
because up until that point he was working hard, he was making ends meet, but the second he took a gamble and risked something, it's almost like it's saying, look, work hard, you'll get rewarded eventually, but if you try to take the easy way out, you'll get punished hardcore. Kind of like the
Yeah.
message behind, I don't know if you've seen it, but the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
I have, but I watched it years ago and I can't remember it
It's
too
fine.
well.
Uh, there was one point in that film which I'll always remember where it's like you can have the easy way out, which is the pub down the road, or you can gain enlightenment by climbing 10,000 steps in one go. Which are you going to
Oh,
choose?
wait, I think I remember that bit, yeah.
So it's kind of like that, where it's like you can try and take the easy way out, but if you do, you'll get punished even more than you would have had you stuck to the altruistic path. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
he is altruistic. Because when he was in the market, because it's playing right now, he decides to support the old lady who's making the bracelets. It's like, oh yeah,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
keep the change, it's fine. Even
Yeah.
though he barely has anything himself.
Yeah. Like, anytime he, like, wins something, he's generous with it.
Yeah, like spreading the wealth and making sure that everyone
Yeah.
around him is all right as well.
Like, he even stops because there's a cat and the cat's hungry, so he's just like, "Here, go have some fish."
That was Gihun.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
But
I'm
yeah, that's
getting
that's the basic. My God, all Asians don't look the same, Amy.
like,
My God.
no, I meant, like, I thought we were still talking about Squid Game.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
You asshole.
um, you left the door open for me. I just couldn't let go.
Because
But
you were talking about market, and so my brain went to, oh, we're still talking about Squid Game, because I don't remember the market bit. Hang on, let me,
it was
I'm
literally
going
just
to
after.
Netflix.
It was literally just after he gave the deed to his friend, and he was going on his motorcycle, and he comes to the market to get the cigarettes, and then he buys the bracelets.
Oh. Oh, so I completely missed him buying the bracelet for whatever reason the first time.
Fair, fair. But both, like, it's a piece of character. What's the word I'm looking for?
Characterization?
Characterization. That's the word. That both adheres to Gihun and the lead character over here. So, and considering we just talked about Squid Game, I can understand the confusion. Right.
Uh,
Now,
where? I can't find. I'm genuinely trying to find this scene. I can't find it.
it.
Come back.
Do you know what? I'll give you the timestamp. It is at da, 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 literally 19 minutes and 15 to 20 seconds.
Okay. Oh yeah. I genuinely forgot about this scene, to be honest.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it's a pretty decent uh, length film. 2 hours. So, and considering it's your first time watching it, I don't blame you.
Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Right.
Okay, now I'm seeing it.
Sweet. But yeah, that's what I was talking about when it comes to the altruism aspect of his character, where even though he barely has anything, he's still willing to do that little bit extra to help people around him when he can.
Yeah.
The next day, we get the dreaded phone call, and
Yeah.
everything is lost. And his reaction is just like, "Yep."
That sounds about right.
Like everything is warping and just he's just stressing out. Uh, Understandably so, because everything is gone. And
Yep.
before we move on, like, what did you think of the design of the guy who, like, the side shaven head guy with the tattoos on the sides, the leather
Oh,
jacket?
I thought he looked cool.
Yeah, and he's kind of like the Boba Fett, where he's like, he's there, he's silent, he's mysterious, and he'll
Yeah.
fuck you up if he needs to, but you don't want to mess with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. I was kind of sad there wasn't more of him in the film. I thought he was
Yeah,
going to be like an important character, and then it turns out he's just there to. He's kind of like the tiger, where he's just there, and they don't do anything with him, and it
he
makes me sad.
he was like he had a little bit more of a plot function than the tiger did, at least,
Well,
because
yeah, but it still felt like he was just there, like to be a bodyguard and just to be like,
yeah.
I'm quite menacing. If you cross my employer, then I will kick your ass.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where there was a sequel planned, so I'm wondering if he
Oh
would have
yeah,
been a bigger character in the sequel, but that didn't end up happening. So it's like, oh, there's this really cool character who we can develop into anything that we're never gonna see again.
yeah. If they just not bothered to make another one, or is there just like never gonna be another one, or what? Because
I
I googled it and it came up with like some.
It was
It came out.
announced, but I don't think it made enough money to warrant a sequel. That's the thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Because even at the end of this film, it's like to be continued. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just never ended up happening. And it's been about 4 years and no one's talked about it. So, what, 3 years now? 2, 3 years. But
Yeah.
yeah. And who would have thought Michael Douglas would be in a film like this?
I know. I was like, oh hello.
Like, I wouldn't peg you to be in this film, but okay, you're here, let's go with it.
Yeah.
And you know what? One of my more favored Michael Douglas performances in the past 10 years, not gonna lie. I quite
Yeah.
enjoyed him here. He seemed like he was
Yeah.
having fun.
It seemed like he was having fun, and he seemed to play diabolical in a subtle way really well.
Yeah, like
Like,
there's a charisma to him where I was like, I really
yeah,
like this dude, but I don't want to cross him.
yeah. That's the kind of vibe I like in villains. I hate it when they're just cartoonishly evil.
Like
Because
Vicious from Cowboy Bebop Netflix version.
yeah, I wasn't gonna name any names. But
Boy.
yeah, it got to a point where that guy was just, I'm talking about Vicious here, he was
Yeah.
just like, look how evil I am, I do horrible things, and it's like, great job, dude.
Yay.
You're just an asshole though, you're not really very menacing.
Yeah, like I've known like 15 guys of you in the local pub, dude. You're not special.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
yeah,
who
this guy, he's like, "Oh, I mean, you could do this or you could do that." It's not like he's not like being like, "Well, you're gonna die if you don't do this." He's just like, "Think about it logically. If you don't do it, you're gonna be working for 30 years of your life." Just
without
saying.
sleep.
And then just walk. Yeah, it's like that's if don't eat or anything like that. It's very manipulative and evil
Yeah,
and
and
charismatic and yeah.
absolutely. And do you know, in the space of 3 weeks, we've seen Ninja and we've seen
Yep.
Animal World, and both had pretty stellar villains. Both of
Oh
them
yeah.
cool, collected, calm, logical, and just threatening. It's wonderful. I
Yeah.
love this.
Take notes, people.
Oh,
I say when there's like two people that probably watch us. Well,
yeah.
you guys can take notes. I
We're watching you.
mean, genuinely, if you want to make a villain, like these two films are really good examples of villains.
Absolutely. Like, there's a certain level of subtlety to them, and when they're going overboard, it's not cartoonishly so to the point where you can't take them seriously. But
Yeah.
it's little things where, like, for example, when it comes to the game itself and the guy tried to flush the cards and they brought him out and he
Yeah.
shot him, it's like, it wasn't even like he's pissed and he's doing this out of malice. It's like it's more disappointment in the players
Yeah.
more than anything. It's like, I
Yeah.
told you, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I
fine.
told you the rules, you didn't listen to me, now I have to kill you and ruin my suit. Are you happy?
It's like a
I mean, it
disappointed
doesn't ruin his
parent.
suit, but yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I just
Well,
really enjoyed the scene between
mhm,
him and the lead character for the first time because, like, okay, here's all the information. This is what you got to work with. You have a minute, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, that's a lot of pressure on a minute.
just a tiny bit.
Yeah,
Just a side note, I wish more female villain characters were written this way, because a lot of them, it's like someone has wronged them, so that's why they're evil. It's like, can we just have characters that are just evil, cold calculating?
do
That
you
would
know
be nice.
what?
That's just a
Um,
side note.
no, no, it's fine. There, have you seen Black Lagoon?
I have not, but that is on my to watch list.
Okay, there's a character, Balalaika, I think is her name. Boy, she is incredible.
Ooh, I'm excited now.
like, re- like, there's a load of great characters in that show to begin with, but
Awesome.
as soon as you see her, she's got a big fuck off scar on her face as well. But as soon as she comes on screen, you're like, don't mess with you, okay? And you just, she's incredible.
Yeah.
So,
That just popped up because the book I'm reading, the villain's great, but she's very clearly just paranoid because she wants everybody to love her and she wants everyone to see her as beautiful. And I was like, oh man, come on.
I've read Snow White too. It's fine.
It's yeah, it's basically it's a sci-fi no, it's a sci-fi version of Snow White called Winter that I'm reading at the
Oh,
moment. And it's really good because it's like it's a series of books. So the first one's Cinder, that's like if Cinderella was a cyborg basically.
oh,
So she's like one of the main characters and there's a whole plot story with that. And then the second book is Red Riding Hood, and then there's a whole plot with that, and they all connect up together. And the third book is Cress, which is based on Rapunzel, and the fourth one, which is the final one now, is based off Snow White, and it's done really well. It's just I feel like they just kind of fell down with the whole she just wants everyone to think she's beautiful because this character, like the evil character, has been through all 4 of these books, so we've gotten a different side of her, and I feel like this side of her in the 4th one is just kind of bit naff.
uh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's a real shame because I was like, "I really like this character, she's just so evil." And it seems like it's just she's cold calculated and she just wants to take over Earth, that's the whole thing, and now we've got this side plot where it's like, actually, no, she wants everybody to think she's beautiful, and she wants everybody to love her.
It's like Maleficent, where in the
Yeah.
original cartoon she was awesome, and it's like she was evil and fabulous because she was just bad. That's she owned it.
Yeah.
Whereas the Angelina Jolie one, she was wronged and she's good deep
Yeah.
down,
I
and I'm
hate
like,
that
oh,
though,
for
and
fuck's
also
sake.
that annoyed me because, like, when you get a male villain, they don't have to be wronged to be evil, they're just allowed to be evil, so I was like, "I'm getting annoyed about this trope. Stop it. Just
Yeah.
make them evil. Don't be afraid to make them evil, they're allowed to be evil.
Like,
It's fictional, it's fine."
you know who's a character I've always loved? Do you remember Rush Hour 2?
Yes.
Do you remember Z Zhang in Rush Hour 2?
Yeah.
She's the female
Oh,
triad that kept
yeah.
on hunting them. I miss
Oh, yeah, I
characters
like
like that.
her.
I loved her. Um,
Anyway, I just wanted to side talk about, like, I would like it if they just stopped giving female villains, like, they've been
Naff
wronged
motivation.
backstories. Just give them, I don't know, give them "I'm power hungry." That's a good one.
Yeah, like it's perfectly alright if that's the only reason. Like as long as they're charismatic and
As
well
long as
written, I'll
yeah,
like them.
yeah. But yeah, that was just a little side note. Back to
Allegedly animal world.
yeah, where there are no animals.
Save for the
10 out of
tiger,
10
which I
whistle.
completely
Yeah.
forgot. Um,
One animal.
1 out of 10. So the next scene is in the hospital where he is saying possibly goodbye to his quote unquote not girlfriend.
Yeah.
And is this really. It's an interesting moment because, on the one hand, he fully intends to come back, but there's always that doubt in the back of his head. It's like, "Oh, shit, I might not actually come back from this." So, him trying to say goodbye without saying goodbye while also saying goodbye, goodbye, it's a really interesting scene. And her just going like,
Yeah.
"Look, bro, I'll wait, so you better fucking come back."
Yeah.
And
It was a cute scene, but also it was like, oh no, sad
yeah,
times.
and even though we've only had like 5 minutes worth of time between the two of them in the entire film, for them to have the characterization down so well that we're like, ah, that's a shame
Yeah.
already. Just go to show that
Yeah.
it was effective writing, great performances, and it was just well paced out, and everything was developed as it needed to be with all the
Mhm.
subtext and the surface level text. It's just a well put together relationship. I miss this.
Yeah. I haven't liked a couple this much in a while actually.
What was the last one? Maybe Violet Evergarden, maybe was the last one?
Yeah, Violet Evergarden, and then but like in an actual Western
Like,
movie that I
oh, right.
liked, a couple was
Shit.
Baby Driver, and that's the last movie in a Western sense I've really liked a couple.
God damn, it's been a while. Fuck. Oh, Bly Manor, Danny and,
Oh
what's her
yeah,
face? Oh,
Danny and the
okay.
Gardener.
Yes, Jamie. Shit, yeah.
Yeah,
Danny and Jamie. Okay, cool. There's been one in the past 5 years. It's okay.
yeah. Oh well, to be fair, I liked the couple in Baby Driver. I thought they had really good chemistry together. So
Yeah, but wasn't that like 6 years ago or something?
probably I don't know.
I don't. David. So this is why we need David. He'd know.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh wait, that was 2017. So yeah, it was more than 5 years ago.
Okay. Cool. Well, just barely. Wow. So two
Yeah,
in the
just
past
about.
5 years.
Yeah.
Jeez. That is.
Ah! One
Oh my
sec, my
god.
headphones fell off.
Oh my god. The headphones are trying to run away again. Whatever will we do?
Yeah.
Catch us next time
Yeah.
on the next What We Watch to find out if Amy does find the
If
headphones.
the headphones are back.
Oh my god. Well, you don't have to wait for the cliffhanger then. Hey, hey.
I
It's
could
not
do
an
that at
Attack
the
on
end of
Titan.
the episode. At the end of the episode, I'd be like, oh, my headphones!
Dun dun
They
dun.
climbed out the window.
It's like an Attack on Titan episode where there's only
Yep.
cliffhangers.
The headphones burst through the wall.
Look forward to the sequel in The Return of the Headphones. Oh, the headphone strikes back.
Yeah.
Um,
You should just clip this conversation and put it as like the main clip on the YouTube channel. Just
the trailer for the
headphones.
channel is this.
It's just me talking about my headphones.
You know what? Fuck it, why not? Like, you wanna watch more of this? Have at it.
Ta-da! It's like ta-da! We have funnies
Yeah.
sometimes.
Oi. Um, so yeah, we've spoke pretty in detail about the car chase at the beginning of this
Yeah.
episode. So what annoys me all the more is that compared to the rest of the movie where the cinematography is on point, I love the color scheme in this film.
Oh yeah.
Like, it is bright, vivid, and really dynamic. Music loved. But then this chase, even the way it's filmed, is so different compared to the rest of the film. Like, it feels choppy, there's loads of jump cuts in between transitions, and there's not a great sense of geography. But
No.
it's so. It's almost like a different director directed this one scene for this film.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know, maybe he liked Fast and Furious. I don't know.
Maybe. It was just the weirdest thing ever, and I was also like, "Oh, okay, so he's really good at driving." He turned into Baby Driver.
And then that car scene where the two of them are fighting on the front and passenger seat is like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. Also, the animation just weird in this whole scene. Like when people get thrown off of things, it just looks janky.
It
It's weird.
does. um, which is
It's
weird
very
compared to the
off-putting.
rest because,
Yeah, because the rest is cool.
like, even when it comes to a lot of the slow motion sequences in the actual tanker and in the prologue of this film, it's all done in a very dynamic way without breaking it, having like CGI long takes and everything like that. Which there are a lot of scenes where you go into people's eyeballs, you come out of a glass, and all sorts of really funky transitions. And I'm like, whoever made this either was on acid or needed to be on acid.
Yeah, it was a requirement in the contract. You must take acid while writing.
Because the way they do a lot of the transitions in this film are really creative.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, considering this in the grand scheme of things is a film about playing rock, paper, scissors, it kind of feels overboard.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Like,
Gotta make it visually interesting though.
yeah, it's it's like Tetsuro Araki doing Death Note, where Light Yagami writing on the Death Note is some of the most exciting, dynamic visual shit you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Like, I will take a potato chip and eat it. It's like, oh my god. Oh, we need more directors like Tetsuro Araki doing simple rom-coms.
Yep.
Oh. Um, what was
Yeah.
interesting about this from a world building perspective is that Michael Douglas and his organization has like a worldwide kind of network where here's this thing that happens every so often. We're going international, baby. And
Yeah.
the way they circumvent the language barrier is like,
Here,
here you
this
go.
translation headphones. I was like,
Real
okay,
time.
sure.
And it's like, okay, I guess. Thanks.
Like, that'd be pretty cool, but also, yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I want one, but I'm trying to figure out the logistics of how this
Yeah.
works.
How do you have so many? Why are there not any in circulation in general?
Yeah, these seem to be really useful in
Like,
the grand scheme of things.
yeah.
Like, I wouldn't mind paying $100 for that.
Yeah, like that'd be really cool, literally. It would help with people trying to have
Travel,
conversations. It
different
would
jobs
help
in
with language
countries,
barriers. Yeah.
watching anime without subs.
That would be so cool.
Oh my. Um, yeah, it's like, in a way, it's neat and simplistic, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we can't afford anything super technical, but we also got to make sure that these characters understand each other, because if we have actors who don't know Chinese try to speak Chinese or vice versa, it's gonna look real
Yeah.
janky. So how do we get around
Mm,
this?
makes sense.
I mean, I'd rather they do that than what they did for Squid Game, where they had the most
Yeah.
cartoonish Westerners you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, I think it was a good choice. Like it was like, how would the logistics work? But you're like, I don't care, everyone can understand each other, it's fine, and it doesn't take away from them. It's not like, oh my god, they tried to do, you know, they just I don't know. I think it just sort of didn't seem as much out of place because obviously it's in Mandarin and then you've got Michael Douglas that's just speaking obviously regular English. It doesn't seem as intrusive as like in Squid Game where it's like, what? Oh man, that just it's like throws you off because obviously you're used to people speaking Korean and then you just get these random Westerners come in episode 7.
And they'd be like the most. It's like an
Generic.
Asian's interpretation of Westerners. You know how like
Yeah.
the Westerns have the Western interpretation of Asians is like the vice versa.
Yeah.
um, but this, I like the way they handled all the quote unquote foreign characters because they behaved like human beings, which is nice.
Yeah.
um, yeah, the rules. The fact that they went into so much detail. Okay, these are the rules. I much rather prefer something like this happen where they give you a full-on like CGI PowerPoint presentation on how the rules work
Yeah.
so that we understand everything than the Queen's
Tiger.
Gambit, where
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I guess that was a good move? Question mark.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's been a few times where me and Ryan have been watching something and like someone will be like, "Oh, chess, yeah, Queen's Gambit," and Ryan's just like, I'm sitting there going, he's about ready to kill someone. Because he's really into chess, like plays chess with his brother like on the regular and like is starting to explain like chess to me as well. And then it's just like you realize how little you learn about chess in that show. So whenever people are like, "Oh yeah, I get chess. I've watched The Queen's Gambit," you're just like, "That doesn't mean you understand chess."
Yeah, it's like someone walking up to me and saying, "I know football because I watched fucking Captain Tsubasa that one time.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be ready to pounce on him and beat the shit out of him." It's
Yeah,
like, no, that's no. Um, I suppose that's the same with every profession, though. It's like lawyers watching like law films, policemen watching police films,
oh
doctors
yeah,
watching medical procedures. It's like the in our own respective professions and interests, we're all tearing our hair out with the level of
yeah,
authenticity.
yeah. I think we'd be the same when filmmakers get portrayed on screen, especially ones that don't have any money, because it's like they're being portrayed by people who do have lots of money, and you're like, no, stop it.
uh, yeah, there is a anime. This is just gonna be me referencing anime you should watch, but
Yeah.
there is. It's done by Masaki Yuasa, if I remember correctly, the same guy who did 90 Short Walk on Girl,
Okie
and
dokie.
it's an anime called Keep
Ooh.
Your
Oh.
Hands Off Eizokun, Eizokun or something like that. And it's all about these three high schoolers who want to get into animation, and it's
Oh.
fantastic.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, um, that's an anime I would recommend. Hardcore, but yeah, tangent out of the way. uh, I whenever a film, show, anime, game, whatever takes the time to really go, these are the rules, have at it. Now that you understand, you know what the characters understand, and you, whenever the characters do something, you have full context as to why they're doing it, as opposed to that's the Queen's Gambit, and we're just wondering, okay, thank you, I
Yeah.
guess.
She made a move. Oh my god, it was so good. Like, was it? Did she
I
move to a specific square? Which square did she move to? I don't have a clue.
and you're like, sure, okay.
How is she going to negate another move? Like, yeah.
God, it's turning into a Queen's Gambit shitfest. But we spoke plenty about Queen's Gambit earlier.
Yep,
Go check it
go check
out.
it
That
out.
episode is out there. I think it's like 20
That was just
something.
y
Or
yeah. It
maybe,
was just an
yeah.
example of,
Yeah.
like my examples turn into tangents, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But, okay, this was just me, but you remember the guy in the maroon suit that tries
Oh,
to
yeah.
manipulate him the first time round? Doesn't he look like a really young Jackie Chan?
He does!
The first time I was like, did they
Now that you
DH Jackie
mention
Chan?
it.
And it's like, it's not, but yeah, just
I would
the
have loved to see Jackie Chan in, like, that kind of role where he's just, like, an asshole and just trying to trick everyone, like, I think he'd be really good in that kind of role.
yeah, he probably has done in one of his Chinese films, but
Probably. I do need to go and check them out, actually.
Yeah, because he has a huge
Is it
filmography. I've
yeah, ton of back catalog of stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah, all the way back to the 70s. He was
Yeah.
in Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. That's how back he goes.
Oh, wow. I haven't watched that movie in I think I've watched it before. I haven't watched it in
Oh,
a long time, though.
Enter the Dragon, man. It's just,
Yeah.
man.
I
Stephen
really
Chow was
wanna
in it
watch
too.
oh, cool. I really wanna watch, Drunken Master because that was his first movie, wasn't it?
It was what
Or first feature length that he was in, possibly? Question mark?
it was one of his first starring roles where he was the main
Ah,
character.
okay. That's it.
Oh, yeah, oh my god, I haven't seen Drunken Master in so long. There are like three of them, I think, if memory serves. But
Nice.
man, I used to love Drunken Master. Well, I still love it. I just haven't seen it in a while. But yeah. So something I do like about having baby Jackie Chan here is the fact that we right away get an answer to how we can just avoid this entire farce altogether, but at the same time commenting on why it's not as simple as that. Because right away he's like,
Yeah,
"Hey, I'll put this, you put that, we'll keep on going, and we'll be fine." But
and then he doesn't.
exactly. So on the one hand, there's that desire to, okay, we could continue going, and we'll both be safe, or I could take advantage of you and raise myself up and kick you down. Because when I was watching this, I was like, oh, why doesn't the three
Yeah,
dudes who come together just, you know, play all the cards and get rid of it? But then you got the stars that you need to collect as well, which prevents you from doing that.
yeah.
So even though there's a really simple game, there's a lot of um, thought put into how it works in order to make it intense. Like, this is the most intense rock paper scissors game I've ever seen. Not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah. I was like, "How are you gonna make rock, paper, scissors interesting?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's how."
Yeah,
Cool.
and
I do like the little animations of when they're explaining things. It did start getting a bit frustrated though, because every couple of minutes it started to feel like, here's how my plan's gonna work, and you get the same animation of the cards going
yeah,
down. And I was like, okay, now I it's cool, but now it's happening too much and it's starting to get less cool and more just
repetitive.
yeah, it's the same shot, it's the same animation I'm getting, and I like having visuals when things are being explained, it's really cool. But, like, when it's the same one over and over and it's just the numbers are changing, it's just boring to me, and I was like, "I don't think you needed to have that in." Like, 1 or
Yeah,
2 times, sure, because it's explaining, but, like, when it's the same one over and over, it's like, literally all the thing that's changing is the numbers. We could just be told the numbers are different now.
or maybe even changing the animation up so that
Yes.
it's something different. Like I think the one they kept using is when all the cards are vertically lined up, and then he pulls them out, and then like, okay, so
Yeah.
here's how many are left, here's how many are there. So
Yeah.
like, as opposed to that, maybe having like that from the tables themselves they rise up, and then you have like the possibilities or something, just
Yeah.
something
Just something to
visually
just
different.
change it up instead of going, "Right," because I was like, he's gonna show the same animation, isn't he?" And I was like, "Yep,
Hmm.
now I'm bored."
Like, it's one of those instances where there's so much attention put into the rest of the visuals in the film, with the exception of the car chase. um,
Yeah.
that the fact that they were reusing that same animation multiple times to start off the explanation just felt a little bit uh, either they ran out of time, or they ran out of money, or something happened
Yeah.
and they just couldn't do anything interesting. Like, that's what it felt like. Like, we
Yeah.
have no other choice, so we're gonna do this.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nitpick. I mean, it didn't ruin the film for me. It just got to a point where I was like, now I'm getting sick of seeing the same animation. I'm like, I get it. The cards have been changed, things are happening. it's not good, but the animation just made it
It made it
irritating.
seem as if it is repetition rather than new
Yeah,
information.
yeah. It was like, I get it, the amount of paper cards has now gone down. The amount of, you know, scissors cards has now gone down. And then it's like, you literally just told it was like, "Oh, no, the cards have gone down to, I don't know, there's, like, 27 paper cards now," and it's like, you literally could have just said that. You didn't need to show the same animation of, "Oh, now it's 27 cards,"
Yeah,
instead of however many before.
and if it was a matter of they didn't have time or money, I'd much rather they have like an Aaron Sorkin or a Whedon like conversation where they're bouncing information off of each other so that they're filling in more and more information, or rather maybe even having the main characters say the information, but then having his two companions go, but what about this? And what about this? What about this? What about this? And then through their questions, filling in more and more of the information that we need to understand. That way, rather than having a really far out visual sequence, we have a really dynamic conversation between them in order to fill in the information. Because by that point, we understand how the game works, we understand the rules, we understand what's at play because we've already had an explanation of this kind of thing happening. So a conversation would have sufficed if it was dynamic enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. um, Next up, we meet his friend again. Hey, hey!
Yay.
And
I'd
mm,
have probably kicked his ass if it was me. I'd be like, You."
I mean, to be fair, he did try
That's true.
until the security came along and said no fighting. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's probably what would have happened to me. They probably would have had to pull me off
and then just
and possibly taser me.
it'll be like the Black Knight out of the Holy Grail going, "Come here, I'll bite your legs off." It's like,
Yeah,
no.
literally.
Oh god, the amount of times I used the Black Knight in my Enola Holmes videos. Oh.
But specifically the "come here, I'll bite your legs off" bit.
No, it was him bouncing around Arthur and kicking him in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, it was- man, I want to watch the Holy Grail again. Not gonna lie.
Me too, I haven't watched it in so long.
Um, yeah. So now that we have the friend return, they have a brief conversation about why he did all of this in the first place. And as you said, Amy, he's a greedy bastard.
Yep. He's like, "I got the money, and then I went and gambled it all again, and then I got the money, and I conned you, and I thought this would be my time to win," and I'm like,
And
"When will you ever learn?"
the main character literally face bombed as well, and it's like, oh my god, okay, just dude, it's just like you said, it's like
Just
learn,
stop.
please, but
Get some help. Stop.
like
Get some
get
help.
some help. Well, that's the thing. Like, it's really interesting that this character was here because it added that dimension of hey, there's greed and there's a certain addiction to the risk of getting profits and whatnot that
Yeah.
really added another layer into this film because on the one hand we've got our main character who is doing this for altruistic reasons, but having the friend there as well who's there as a result of an addiction really shows how far down the rabbit hole you can go if
Yeah.
you are not conscious enough to stop it at the right time, or if you get hooked on it and whatnot. So I'm glad he
Mhm.
was there because it gives some good commentary, but at the same time, absolutely, I don't blame him for trying to beat him up.
Oh, yeah. Anyone would react that way. So it's like, "You're supposed to be my friend, and you fucked me over."
Yeah, there's a certain level of tragedy, yet at the same time, there's probably someone like this we know, and that makes it all the
Oh, yeah.
more, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like, absolutely, I know gambling is an addiction, just like, drugs can be an addiction. Anything can be an addiction if
Hmm.
it's not managed.
definitely.
But yeah, I would still probably try to strangle him.
The first reaction. Um, I must say, like, there's an interesting collection of characters in this film, like some who get
Hmm.
more screen time than others, but I think they're all pretty memorable in their own right. Like, for example, this a bit later on in the film, but the I think it was an Italian guy that comes up and tries to fuck them over by buying the
Oh
opposite
yeah.
cards. Like, he was an interesting character because he was trying
Yeah.
to reverse play them and having that dynamic, and like kind of like a dark mirror to the main character, where rather than having two companions, he had two lackeys that were yes
Yeah.
men. So that was an interesting dynamic. Michael Douglas, we've already spoken about.
Mhm.
Cool tattoo bro, which we wish we had more of.
Yep.
um, and then the dude, the second companion that they pick up after he reunites with a friend who just looks like he had the worst day of his life.
Yeah. Broken glasses, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought he was interesting.
absolutely, because there's a certain level of desperation to him where it's like he will do whatever it takes to survive and get as much out of this as he can.
Yeah.
Companions be damned.
Yeah.
So the fact that he turned heel later on, while it was kind of like a subversion of sorts because you'd expect him to stay all the way
Yeah.
through, the fact that he heel turn is also in character because he already
Yeah.
betrayed them before.
Yeah, like, he already did it, and also, when he was like, "This is my daughter," I was like, "That's not your daughter, you're totally lying," because it's been set up that no one is trustworthy in this game.
Exactly, yeah.
So you already it's not like a shock, but it's also like "Oh, I thought he'd actually learned because 'cause he's been through everything with the character, like, I would've thought he just wouldn't." But
Yeah.
it's still very much like it's like, if you were paying attention, you could have seen this coming. If you weren't paying attention, then it's like, "Oh, dang!"
And it would
But
have
it's
still
not
made sense. That's what's great
yeah.
about it.
Like, if you were paying attention, this is kind of um, an instance where if you're the audience, you feel clever for being like, "I knew he was gonna do
Yes.
that," but you're not annoyed that you know it.
Yeah,
It's not one of them,
exactly.
"Oh my god, I knew that was gonna happen." It's a little bit of, "Ah, I knew that would happen at some point."
God, when were we talking about that during Neja? Because
I think
this exact conversation where we're
so.
talking about being clever and
Oh, yeah.
like I know we had this conversation in greater
I
depth.
think we did. Yeah,
I
it was
think
kind
it
of
was
like
Neja.
I think it was like audiences want to feel clever, but they don't want you to literally spoon feed them everything. I
Yeah,
think it was that.
exactly. Yeah, that was it. Hey, hey. I mean, it's great that we're having films where we get to speak about them in a positive way, where we get to bring up these concepts and elaborate on them. Is wonderful instead of just being mad
Yay.
and confused.
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, sometimes though the being mad and confused is because it's like, that it's because of like having a being able to reference good works and then having the same like company and like production company churn out films that are terrible, and it's like, you can do better than this. And
Hmm.
that's where the anger comes from. It's not just, "Oh, this film's bad, I'm angry." It's like, "No, this is annoying.
Yeah.
There's a better film here." And I think that's why it's so anger inducing.
Absolutely. But yeah, you're absolutely right because um, if you're paying attention to the film and you're picking up all the clues, then you can absolutely see that betrayal coming as a result of what the other characters are like. But
Yeah,
if you completely missed it, that's all right too, because it was
yeah.
set up that he betrayed them, and we were constantly told how you shouldn't trust anyone here.
Oh, yeah. It's
So,
it's literally set up from the beginning. Look, this guy was completely trustworthy one minute, and then he was just like, "Haha, no.
yeah,
I want
and
money."
even the best friend is in the same category as Broken Glasses dude because we
He's
thought,
already
oh,
betrayed him.
he's already betrayed him, and by the time the end comes and when it came to the point of, right, we got to save our friend, instead of thinking about the profits, they went with the profits, they went with the greed.
Mm-hmm.
And, they ended up being punished for it, both of them. Whereas the main character chose the altruistic route and ended up being rewarded for it. So it's good. Just there's no other
Yeah.
way. It's good. And the fact that the
I,
oh, go on.
I was gonna say, I love how this film has like a couple of scenes. I was like, why is this happening? This makes no sense. But the film still manages to be really good because it's like you just need to take that out and then you're amazing film.
Yes. Um, like move it. That's the thing. Like it's all in the first act, though. That's the worst part.
Yeah,
um, if you get through that, there's a great little cat and mouse game here for you to enjoy. But it's
yeah,
like you need to get through that first act, which has all that bullshit with the clown and the car chase in it. And if you mix
yeah,
those couple of things up and then drop the car chase, A, you'd have more streamlined film, and B, it'd be much more palatable, and you would be thinking, what the hell is
yeah.
going on?
Yeah, because I literally a bunch of my notes literally the first act were just what's going on? Is this how it works? Maybe the film will tell me later. And it never did. Like well, I was like, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, maybe it will explain later. And a lot of my notes are just like, oh, he's hallucinating then. Oh wait, no. It's anger issues. No. Okay, I give up.
Yeah. But as soon as we enter the tanker, everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Everything is cohesive, to the point, efficient, and all the arcs are wonderfully set about. It's fantastic. Acts 2 and 3 are wonderful in this film. Act 1 is just kind of not all over the place, but it really pulls the film down from what it could
Yeah.
be. And
And then we
I'm.
get a weird scene on the tanker now.
Oh, which one?
The one where he keeps repeating the drop of water.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I passed that a long time back.
Oh, right. Yeah,
um,
just when I was watching it, I was like, "Why is this here?"
oh, God, yeah, that was a bit
It was just
mental.
weird. It was just like, "Okay,"
Um,
because it's
another.
not been explained what's happening, and also it's like there was nothing to prompt it happening either. It was like it was just came out of nowhere.
Yes. Like visually stunning, but at
Oh
the same
yeah, like
time, why?
yeah, if you're gonna give me something visually stunning to look at, fine, but can I have a reason for it? Otherwise, it's just there for the sake of it.
Also, there were a couple of points in this film, like when we're having the freeze moment thing where they lingered on the bubblegum at the end of his shoe. I was like,
Yeah.
this is the Zack Snyder Sesame Seed moment. Just again. It's like, why? uh, like, if I was trying to make a reason as to why this is here. Maybe it's how after the betrayal he is held in stasis and
Yeah.
his goals, motivations, and life is flashing before him, trying to make sense of it all, and his friend knocks him out of his stupor. But it it was kind of
That's you
overboard.
speculating. Yeah, that's you speculating as well, it's not clear.
Exactly.
And then he
There's
wakes
no
up and
substance to it.
I was like, "Oh wait, so does this happen when he's unconscious?" I am
Like
confusion.
I am confused. I am confusion.
Yeah.
um, it's one of those instances where any theory could be right because of a lack
Yeah.
of evidence.
Yep. Again, I would like to know how the clown situation worked. That would be
At
nice.
least
If you're gonna
consistently.
yeah, if you're gonna have it in there, can we just have a reason for it? And also can yeah, because it's just random. And then he's having random hallucinations where he's not the clown, so I was just like, "This make no sense."
Yeah. Or, like, maybe if there was a clown scene there where he is fighting a bunch of monsters with the guy's tuxedo on or something like it's a bit on the nose. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm coming up with it on the spot, but at least if there was some connection between like having a vague resemblance to everyone that's already here in the room, and him having to fight through that. That could be like, hey, these are all the people he has to fight through in order to get it done, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. I feel like the whole clown thing was just is that in the comic? I don't know.
No, it's not.
Then what the why is it there?
I think we pretty much got it on the head at the start of the episode where the guys who made this really liked Soccer Punch.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't get me wrong, I love Soccer Punch as well,
Me too.
but I gotta have a reason to put it in my film.
Yeah. Like in Sucker Punch, a lot of people were like, "I don't understand what's going on," and I'm like, "Well, she's dealing with a trauma by creating stories in her head," and they were like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like,
It's in the film. Just
Literally
saying.
the."
um, yeah, it's
They
like there
are
are
you
absolutely criticisms you can have for Sucker Punch, but a
yeah.
lot of the criticisms I've heard is like, oh, it's like nothing matters because it's all a dream. It's like, so
No,
it's
it's
no,
not a
it's not a
dream,
dream.
though.
Please, there's a
It's
distinction.
yeah. Like, at first I thought it was a dream, but then after I watched it a couple of times, I was like, "No," because like, when they're talking about it, they're like, "Oh, she's gonna dance now," and then at the end of the like, the little story segments,
Yeah.
she stops dancing, so it's like, what you just watched was her interpretation of a dance, and also, I think a lot of people got confused because it's like, one minute it's a mental asylum, and the next minute it's like a burlesque club.
It was a brothel. So it's
Brothel, sorry.
the asylum, the brothel, and
Yeah.
then the three different fantastic
Yeah.
settings.
And I was like, she's probably interpreting it as a brothel because of the amount of abuse going on.
Yep.
So in her mind, that's how she's perceiving it, and she's perceiving it as a dance to deal with it. Trauma.
Yes. And those dances, who knows what that could be in the real world. So,
Yeah.
hey, no wonder
It's a
that's
good
what she's thinking.
yeah, it's one way of getting around having to show that. So, because I've a lot of the criticism, even I had the criticism of like, oh, it's just an excuse to get the actresses in skimpy outfits. But actually, if you think about it, that's pretty they've come up with a story idea to avoid having to show them exotically dancing or doing anything that might not be particularly nice for them.
Yeah, because
So you
even.
gotta give
I'm
credit
sorry,
for
go
that.
on.
I was just gonna
Yeah,
say you gotta give credit for that, I think.
yeah, because even Zach and a lot of the actresses that took part in the film were talking about how it was a critique of how Hollywood glamorizes violence, yet turns its head on sex while also exploiting women in positions as well. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of real world themes going on within
Mhm.
the film, which is why like
Like
it's one
yeah.
of the few reasons why I'd love to see what the Snyder cut of Soccer Punch is.
Oh, yeah, I wanna see that too.
um, but yeah, like I doubt we're ever gonna get that unless we meet Zack Snyder and say, "Hey, I want to see it,
Mm.
please. I'll give you all
Yeah.
the money."
Yeah,
But yeah, Soccer Punch is a film I quite adore, and
me
we could
too.
probably do hours on
Yeah,
Soccer Punch one day. One
yeah.
day.
I really do enjoy it, and I do really feel bad for critiquing it the way I did, but also I'm more informed about stuff than I was back then. I was a dumb teenager when Sucker Punch came out, so, I'm not proud of it, but, yeah, I was just like, "Oh, well," like, I even liked it back then, but I was just kinda like, "It is kind of just skimpy outfits, really," and then, obviously, now that I know more about film and I've watched it again, and also just, like, given the current social climate we're in, it's like, it's still kind of
It was,
relevant now, it
in a
just as
weird
much as it
way,
was.
the thematics of that film are oddly prophetic.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's a good film. I like it.
I quite adore it. Have you seen the director's cut?
Yes? I think so.
because there's a full-on musical number in the director's cut.
I know the musical number. I have seen that, but I
Okay.
might have just Googled it on YouTube
Oh,
to watch
fair,
it
fair.
because Carla Gugino.
Oh, yeah. Carlo Gugino is going to be in the next Mike Flanagan project. Just saying.
Ooh.
He's doing two projects back to back. He's doing Midnight Club and he's doing a remake of um, Fall of the House of Usher. So really
Ah.
looking forward to that. I think Mark Hamill is the lead in the Fall of House of
Ooh.
Usher. That's going to be interesting.
Sounds fun. I have to check
Yeah.
it out.
Can't wait. Oh, anytime Mike Flanagan's doing something, I'm like, yes, gimme, gimme.
Same.
Shit, yeah, Animal World.
Yeah. To be fair, that was a relevant. I mean, the tangent kind of made sense because we were talking about a scene that it's clearly like the people who made this film clearly watched Sucker Punch and were like, "Yeah, we like that. Let's do that in our film."
Yeah, it's like,
Which I've been tempted to do, but like I've just been like, I don't have the money to do that, and I don't have a reason for it.
yeah, the reason I think is the biggest question I have for this film when it comes to the usage of that, well, plot mechanic, where, well, there's clearly no good reason enough to have that kind of otherworldly setting where there's badass fighting and also some
Yeah.
Beastie Boys there. So
You could easily be like, this is the way this person's mental illness kind of manifests. You could easily do that, but that's not
that's
what
not
the
the
film's
focus of this
about.
film. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So that's why it kind of makes no sense that it's there, and it's also a bit confusing because it's like we're not focusing on the character's mental illness, even though the opening line of the film is "I am crazy,"
And the closing line.
and the closing line is then "I'm still crazy, but
Yeah,
I don't care."
like instead of crazy, it could have been like I'm angry or something like that, or I am
Yeah,
pissed at this situation I'm in, or it's
yeah,
like I
because
went through all of this and my life is better, but I'm still pissed. So why
yeah,
is that? And the clown could be like the manifestation of that, or something
yeah.
else.
I never got any vibes that this character's crazy.
In fact, he is incredibly well put together from
He's
a
yeah,
intellectual
he seems
perspective.
He seems incredibly well adjusted despite the situations he's been in. And every time the clown pops up or he punches someone in the face, it's kind of justified why he's that angry in that situation. It's not
Yeah,
justified. Like, I wouldn't say it's okay to go and punch people in the face. Like, that's not great.
but you
But it
understand
doesn't make you,
why.
yeah, it doesn't make you crazy if you get angry and punch someone in the face if they've literally conned you out of all your money. Any normal person would want to do that. Well,
Yes.
anyone. You don't have to be I don't even know why I said normal, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um,
It's a fair reason to be angry. Just seems
definitely.
weird to be like, "I'm crazy." It's like, you're not really though. And also, if you were suffering with mental illness doesn't make you crazy, it means you have an illness.
Mm,
I know I'm getting all worked up about literally an opening line, but I don't know, it just bothers me. I mean, I did a whole dissertation on mental illness in film, so I can't not pick up on it.
fair. um, hey, if it's something you wanna bring up about the film, then have at it. I mean, backing it up, that's fine.
Yep.
Um, something I like is we kind of
Ooh.
got this anime trope where, oh yeah, hey, why did you decide to do this? Well, let me tell you, good friend and the viewer, it is because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because of
Yeah.
A, B, C, D. I
Yep.
like that because, on the one hand, it's kind of like in a detective story or like a Sherlock Holmes story where Watson is going to be asking, hey, Sherlock, why'd you do that? Well, Watson, it's because of A, B, C, D, F, G, and I will let you figure out G for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So, on the one hand, it allows you to think alongside the supporting characters while the main character is going off on one of his mental brainwaves.
Yeah.
So it's a good way of projecting information without breaking the fourth wall and going, well, dear audience member, do you know why I did this? Like in Dora the Explorer.
Yeah. It's just so condescending. Like, the way Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, it's not condescending. It's funny. And also, his character literally breaks the fourth wall all the time, so it's within character. But yeah,
Um,
when it's like just a
like
random
this
character.
there's ways it can be done well. Like, for
Oh
example, The
yeah.
Big Short does the projection of information really well with fourth wall breaks, with different characters turning and saying, okay, so what this means in the stock market is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you need to know this
Oh
because
yeah.
this conversation is about that. So you know
Yeah.
what we're talking about. So let's get back to the conversation kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Like I like it when they use that a lot in Wolf of Wall Street, don't they?
They do, yeah,
When it
fuck, it's
because
been a while.
he's explaining like how stock markets work and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
And then also intercut with like personal things about like he's like, "Oh yeah, I did a ton of coke before I worked this out." That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I like it in that because it's not condescending, it's just I'm explaining it to you. And it's all like
Yeah, it's
it's
not
you
like
know,
they're breaking character to do that.
yeah.
It's like them as the
If it's in
character
character, that's
explaining it
fine.
as if we ourselves are participating in the conversation.
Yeah.
Not like Dora the Explorer.
No. They also do it in I, Tonya really well as well. I thought I liked that.
Yeah, yeah. But I, Tonya, it's more like a Modern Family kind of thing, where it's like a
Yeah.
pseudo documentary kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Also, it happens in some really messed up scenarios, I
yeah.
think, to lighten the tone. But yeah,
Yeah, I, Tonya was a trip.
that was a film. I had to review it for an essay, I think.
Oh, wow. I only
That
watched
was
it the
fun.
one time in the cinema.
I only watched it the one time to write a review for it.
But, but, boy.
Anyway, back to this movie.
Yes. So they, at this point in time, where after they take care of the money that they need in order to get the cards that they're looking for and earning a few extra stars,
Yeah.
I like that they're scouting out the competition to see, okay, we can challenge that guy. Why? Because of ABC reasons. So
Mhm.
there's, considering it's rock paper scissors, which is a really simple game, there's a lot of complexity to the way they have the structure of the tournament and how they're going about trying to win it. And having the star dynamic really helps. Otherwise, it would be uh,
It'd be really
really
easy.
ludicrous.
Yeah.
I mean, it already is, but even more so, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, And it's at this point where we find out that one of the contestants has decided to flush the cards because he wants to win. And Michael Douglas is less than happy about it, so decides to shoot him right in the middle of the entire game room. And I love the manner he's behaving because he's like a really disappointed dad lecturing his children.
Yeah. He's like, I clearly explained the rules. I'm trying to find the clip because I'm way behind you.
Oh, it
Because I keep
um
pausing it to talk.
right. It's at 1 hour and 4 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Sweet. Um, and then in case anyone didn't get the rules of the game prior, he goes through it one last time so that we're all refreshed. We all know what's happening. Characters know, we know. Like the Michael Douglas scene after he shoots him is kind of like a reinforcing of the information,
Yeah.
which I'm glad is there in the grand scheme of things because it can be pretty difficult to get a full proper grasp of, having listened to it just the one time. So that reinforcing of the information really helps.
Yeah. It's like you gotta get rid of all your cards and you gotta have 3 stars.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of your cards by flushing them down the toilet because that doesn't count. Even though there's no rules to the game, really. You can cheat if you want to, you just can't flush them down the toilet.
You can beat people up, you can steal, you can con them, you can do
Well, you
whatever
can't
you
beat people
want.
up. You're
Well,
not
yeah, you
allowed to
can't
beat
beat
people
people
up,
up.
apparently.
Yeah.
I I was kinda like, I feel like that's because in Chinese media, they don't like it when violence is shown a bunch? I don't
Uh,
know.
no, that's not. I mean,
I mean, someone
depends.
gets shot in the head and someone gets punched, so I don't know.
Yeah, like guy right now literally got his brain
Yeah,
splattered all over the floor. So, um,
yeah. I guess maybe it's just like, no, you can't beat people up and no, you can't flush the cards.
yeah,
Like, there are some
um,
rules, but there's no rules, but I'm like, "Okay."
yeah. That's what I. It's something that really irks me. It's when a
Yeah,
character
it's a bit
says this is a
irritating.
lawless society, like Black Falcon does. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, Madripoor is lawless, except for this law, this law, this law, this law, this law, this law, this law. Okay, so there are laws.
yeah.
Just
So you have
please
laws,
stop it.
just you have to obey my laws, but everything else is lawless.
Yeah, everything is lawless unless I say otherwise. It's like I wish people stop saying that as a sentence because it makes no sense because everywhere there is at least some laws. This is a
Yeah,
fact.
yeah. He implied that it was gonna be like the purge, and I was like, "Oh hell, there's gonna be people chucking each other over tables and stuff. That's gonna be hilarious." And then it just didn't happen, and I'm like, "You have robbed me of my fun film. Why would you do this?" I
like
mean, I still had fun with the film. Like, I jest.
like I can't remember what his exact phrasing was, but maybe it was like, okay, so here are the rules for the game. Okay, da 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 da. If you can't obstruct people and uh, you can't flush them down the toilet or anything like. I mean, he did make the card thing very clear. It's like the only time they will be discounted is if when the game master puts them in the recycling bin. Nothing else
Yeah.
counts. So at least he made that clear.
Yeah, so I think that's why it was like, you can't flush them down because then they won't be counted.
Yeah,
Even though they still never counted them anyway, because he did flush some cards down.
true. Because that's the only time when the machine recognizes when it is no longer in play, which comes back later on to hurt baby Jackie Chan.
Yep.
Like that was a really subtle well payoff to something that'll happen later on, which seems inconsequential because you're like, well, yeah, of course, we've already explained that, and someone decided to do it. He's a dipshit. But later on, he's like, I see what you did there, film. Well done.
Yeah. You're like, "Good job."
Because the young Jackie Chan's entire plan was the assumption of these are all the cards we have left, and the fact that no, uh, he failed to take one thing into account just went to show A, the intelligence of the main character, B, the purpose of that setup, and C, how it's all it's well put together. Acts 2 and
Oh,
3 are well put together. Like I
I
almost
like them.
I lament the fact that Act 1 is as long as it is, because I wish it was a lot shorter so that we can get to the meat and potatoes, which is clearly this.
Yeah.
Um, and this after the guy gets shot in the face, they go into the toilet so that they can have their group meeting about what to do next. And that's when he explains, my dad was a mathematician. He used to teach me a
Yeah.
lot of math problems and stuff like that. And that's the second time we hear the whistle, which will come into
Yeah.
play later. Hey, hey,
Yeah.
it's great.
This'll be important. Also,
Yeah,
is he whistling Le'Veon Rose? Because it sounds like it.
probably is. I don't know.
I'm going to Google it to see if it is. Because I was
Fair
like,
enough.
I recognize that tune.
I recognize it, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what it is. Um, but even in this scene with the toilet, where they're trying to come up with what to do, once again, it reinforces the characters, where a broken glasses guy is eagerly accepting the cards and the star because of the type of character that he is, where he is more than willing to be selfish if he needs to, and the best friend, quote unquote, is willing to put all his trust in him, just like he did in the hospital with the deeds to the house, and our main character being the altruistic one and saying, now we're all in it together, so giving each one an equal amount of cards and stars so that they're all on the same boat, further reinforcing characters, even if what they're saying is to the contrary. Behavior over what you say. It's great.
Yeah, it was Le'Veon Rose.
Oh, nice. Well, like, is it significant in any way, do you think,
I
or?
I don't think so. It's like a French song. I only know it because there's a character in How I Met Your Mother who sings it.
Oh, that's why I didn't know. My God, I've barely watched How I Met Your Mother, to be fair.
It's fair. You're not missing anything.
I've heard.
I watched it and I enjoyed it the first time I watched it because I didn't know what was happening, and then I was just very disappointed. And every time I watch it now, because I watched it with Ryan, I think I think it's a frustrating time because I just watch it and go, I have this problem with this character's actions. I have this problem, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna stop watching this show now.
I could never stand the characters even back then. I'm like, these guys are just fucking
Yeah,
annoying.
you
Neil
watch,
Patrick Harris is fine.
yeah, I like him. Like, I think the only reason I'd rewatch it is just to watch his character because he's fun. He's also a bit of a creep though, so there's also that. So
Mm,
he's not completely like off the hook as not being a terrible person.
I wouldn't want to be him.
The only character that's actually good is the mother character, and that's why I have a problem with it because the whole
Didn't she
show's
die?
supposed yeah, the whole show's supposed to be about her, and then it's like she dies. I'm sorry, I'm going off about How I Met Your Mother here.
This is fine.
But then she dies. Spoilers, by the way.
It's How I
If you
Met Your
haven't
Mother. Who
seen it by
cares?
now, yeah. Um, but yeah, she dies, and then it's literally like he just asks his kids, "Is it okay if I go out with Robin?" And I'm like, this whole show should be renamed to How I Met Your Aunt Robin, and can I go out with her now?
Yeah, How I Met Your Aunt doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
No, it doesn't. But it was literally the whole. Also, the whole story is literally this man telling his kids the convoluted way he met their mother, just so he can then go, I know your mum's dead, so is it okay if I date this person who you've literally grown up with? Ah! Irritates me. And
Yes.
also, this guy tells his kids about the time he had a threesome, so let's just let that sink in.
Oh, it's
'Cause he's the like, the whole thing is he's telling his kids this story, and some of the times it's like, "Yeah, one time I had a threesome," and it's like, who tells their kids that?
it's like the kids looking at him like,
Sociopath.
you know that Doomer meme where the guy just looks like death? It's like that's what the kids.
Yeah,
I imagine the kids being like, "Dad, I
yeah.
really didn't need to know this."
It's like, what does this have to do with you meeting our mum?
It's like,
Nothing.
Dad, we've been here for a year. Can we get to the point, please?
Literally.
Did you know that the girl who played his daughter in the first season was also in Nikita with Maggie Q?
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And she was also in Kick-Ass playing the girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. I knew I recognized her, but I just couldn't remember what from. I haven't watched Kick-Ass in so long. It's such a good movie.
I think her name is Lindsay Fonseca.
Cool.
Yeah. Um, going back to my 2010 knowledge, Hooah.
Yeah, heck yeah. But yeah, I'm very sorry I went off on How I Met Your Mother.
It's fine.
It's really bad though.
uh, it's like I could feel a train wreck coming, so I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm
It's
just gonna
just
stick to
oh
Joey,
yeah.
which was just another train
Ye
wreck on its own.
yeah. Like,
Oh.
Friends is also terrible in the sense that some of the things have not aged well, but I could still sit through it without being like, "I hate these characters!"
Mm.
Which is weird because, like, when I first watched it, I was like, "Oh, I really like this character," and then I rewatch and I go, "They're actually a manipulative asshole. I don't like this character. Never mind. Carry on."
Hey, childhood. It was a wonderful time. Anyway, Animal World. Um, so we've come to the point where Italian bro finally comes up and says, "Look, bro, let's do this. Let's go one on one." And it's a really interesting manner in which they set it up because you had a sideways glance of him, and it's like, okay, so he's going to be important later on. And we don't
Yeah.
hear anything from him for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. Or
Also, I'd like
15
to
minutes.
point out we haven't seen the clown bro for at least 50 minutes at this point.
Since we came to this tanker, we have not seen
Yeah,
him once.
no clown bro.
What is the point?
Exactly.
It's fucking awful. That aspect of the film, I'm just like, why? Just fucking why? Um, but yeah, even though it was a sideways glance, you're like, why is that significant? And like, I think this is one of the aspects of the film that isn't quite as great because how did Italian bro figure out that that was the plan? And they give like a throwaway line saying, "Oh yeah, we have these people, and you bought these specific cards for this price, so we decided to buy the others." Which,
Yeah.
yeah, this makes sense. But on the other hand, how did he know to go for that in the first place, considering he himself was there to loan money? It's like it felt like a leap.
Yeah.
But then
Uh,
again,
uh,
if we had like less time with the clown and more time over here, maybe we could have gotten a scene or two of him in the background talking to the people that he talked to and something like that so that we can connect the dots. But, clown stuff was important, I guess.
yeah, we needed to see clown bro.
Like, this could have been a really cool confrontation between the lead character and his dark mirror while setting up the dark mirror in the background without really being too overt about it. But none of that time was used in order to set him up. So now he's coming up saying, I knew you were doing this. Why? Because A, B, C, D, F, G, but we didn't show it to you for
We're just telling
reasons.
you. Yeah.
And when considering everything we've seen with the main character, you just kind of feel it's just kind of like wasted potential there in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah,
Instead,
but
they were like, let's use the same animation for showing you how many cards less there are. But we couldn't show you what this guy just explained.
yeah, but it's like when we do get to see him and the way the characters are behaving and how he treats everyone, you get to see the antithesis of the main character in him,
Yeah.
which
Because
is
he's just
why
like,
it's so disappointing that we don't get to see proper setup for him. Why
yeah.
he wasn't more of a prominent figure, because
Yeah,
if
he's
we
just
were,
kind of there and then he's gone.
because
Kind of annoyed.
yeah, in a way it's like it is like a manga in a way because like okay, you got the establishment arc, then you got the Italian bro arc, then we got the stuck in the sauna arc kind of thing. you
Yeah.
know like as soon as each problem is resolved, they're kind of done and they
Disappear.
move
He was like,
on.
we're done with this problem. Bye. Later.
And I think the
Wish they'd
only
have done that
one
with the clown.
I think the only one they stuck through with is Baby Jackie Chan, where he comes back to be a thorn in the side
Yeah.
again. So he's like the overall antagonist to the main trio.
Ah, the Italian man turned into a monster.
Yeah.
A
Like,
monster full of paint.
in a way, it's kind of interesting because it's like, oh, this is the Herculean task that we have to put up with in order to get the victory. Like, it's kind of like showing how big the threat really is, when in
Yeah.
actuality, it's Italian bro. But it's like,
Yeah,
oh, go on.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like Jackie Chan bro was more of a threat than this guy. So why didn't he turn into a monster?
Yeah. It's really
This
weird when
guy
they
doesn't
choose.
this guy seems like the first the first when you're playing a video game and you get like bosses in stages, this guy feels like the first boss before you have to fight the main boss.
Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, here's the Capra Demon, but you know what? You can get, like, the Gaping Dragon later on, but you need to fight this guy first. Why?
Yeah.
Cuz. Oh, okay. If you say so, game. Or it's like, oh, this is the saucepan mission from The Witcher. Why? Like, world building?
Reasons.
Question mark? Hey,
I love the pan mission. It's just so weird.
so do I. Like, I will always defend the pan mission
Yeah, I'll
because it's
always do the pan mission.
absolutely, it's criminal if you don't.
Hashtag save the pan.
But yeah, that is a good point though, because in the grand scheme of things, because Italian Bro wasn't built up enough, he feels like a throwaway villain rather than an actual antagonist. You
hmm
know, like a henchman to the henchman, and Jackie Chan is just in the background going, "Hello, I am
I'm s-
waiting."
yeah, I'm still here by the way.
And you get like a sideways glance at him on occasion. So if we had the same thing with him ever since the moment he noticed him at the loaning booth, I think it would have gone a long way towards establishing him as an actual threat. Oh, speak of the devil, now we get the clown in a train.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Clown. Why didn't we get this when he beats Jackie Chan, bro? Because that seemed like a more significant victory.
Yeah.
Click just to make my point. I aggressively clicked my mouse pad then, right after I said that.
Oh my. Poor mousepad.
Yeah. It's fine. It's probably used to me doing it.
And then it's like, considering he was so calm and collected all this time, the way he just kind of shoves his teammates aside and walks away is kind of like,
And calls
ah.
everyone a mofo. It's like, dude,
It's like, that was like spoiled brat behavior.
adorable. Yeah. This guy gets the monster and clown treatment, but Jackie Chanbro doesn't.
And Jackie Chan Bro was like, next to Michael Douglas, was the better villain.
Yeah.
Like, there could have been a way where, during the three stages of this card game, you could have had part one being Jackie Chan Bro, setting up Italian Bro, then Italian Bro comes in, and then Jackie Chan Bro comes in at the end again. And there could have been a way to properly write it and develop it to incorporate all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in the entirety of the second and third acts, Italian Bro is probably the weakest aspect of it, even though
Yeah.
there are some interesting things being done with him and his group. It's not bad, but it's in a string of good, 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 good. It's the least good of the good.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Good.
Again, though, I feel like if they were gonna have the whole this guy is a threat, so therefore monster, they really should have done it with the higher up villain.
Mm,
And
it
also, it just comes across as random because it never happens again with any of the other people he's playing against. It just happens this one instance. I'm pretty sure Michael Douglas doesn't turn into a freaky monster either, and he seems like a massive threat compared to everybody else. So if it was the whole I get angry and distressed, then the clown helps me deal with it. Why didn't the clown come out then?
Or maybe it's the monsters represent the small fry and the humans stay human because of how much of a threat they are?
Okay,
Question
sure, that
mark?
that works too, but that's a theory, and
Exactly, the big
that's
question mark at the
just
end of that theory.
that's a game theory. I'm kidding.
Like, the biggest question mark you can see.
Yeah. It just again just makes no sense. And at first I was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense at the start, but it's like no, it's recurring, so it's like it's still a glaring problem.
Like, I don't even mind the fact that it is recurring. My biggest issue with the clown is it's inconsistent with what it's meant
Yeah.
to be. Like, if it was consistent, I'd be okay with it coming up all over the
Yeah.
place. But
If it was literally I get angry, clown comes out. Sure, have at it, but it's like now it's just oh, I'm playing against a threat, clown.
hmm,
Um or yeah, like there's been plenty of times where he's been clearly distressed or angry and the clown's not appeared. So that's why it's starting to be like, how does this work?
yeah. But then, after beating the Italian dude, things get really dark with the human experimentation
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
Like, whoa, this went to 100 really fast.
I
um,
was like, are they literally gonna turn into monsters and he's gonna actually have to fight them?
oh my god, imagine. It's like, um, yeah, it's like, you know that meme where I think it's in Anchorman, they go, wow, that really escalated fast. Like,
Oh, yeah,
really
that
fast. Like,
escalated quickly.
yeah. Like, we're going from, hey, we're having rock, paper, scissors card games, and then human experimentation and skin melting off of people. And like,
Yeah.
jeez, okay. Like, they did set it up earlier with the rumors going around with what they do with the losers and all of that, but didn't think they would show it, you know?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought you didn't like this kind of stuff, China.
Oh, China's weird. They have the
The-
stipulations for the weirdest things.
yeah, it's very strange.
um, so this is also the moment when they realize they've got a majority of the cards, and baby Jackie Chan decides, hey, let's reshuffle the cards so we all know what card we don't know what cards everyone's got. And naturally, the protagonists don't want to do that because, you know, they've got most of the cards. So they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh shit, well, you're planning on cheesing us, weren't you?
Yeah. Stealing some of our cards.
I mean, they did pay for them, so.
Yeah. True. I mean, it does kind of set it up because he cheats in the first game by having 2 cards. Well, making it look like he's gonna
Oh,
play
you
1
mean
card
Baby
and
Jackie
then
Chan?
yeah,
Gotcha,
sorry,
gotcha, gotcha.
sorry,
Okay.
I didn't realize I hadn't specified who. I just said he, and it could be literally anybody in this movie.
Yeah. So that's what you said when they cheated the cards out of him. It's like, what? No, wait, they paid for the cards though.
No,
Like,
no,
hang
no.
on.
Wait, sorry, like, it's set up for him
Yeah,
to do this again because he's done it,
they did it.
um
He did it prior. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And it shows him as a credible threat as well because he's
yeah,
able to back it up using sound logic. You know, where it's like,
yeah.
look, this is what it's kind of like a court case where one side is saying, no, this is why it happened, and the other side is going, no, this is why it happens. So having that duality of having this one situation and having the two perspectives is really interesting.
It's very cool. All I keep thinking is why doesn't this guy turn into a monster in his mind right now? Because at this point he's quite threatening.
Mm,
And I'm like, it'd be cool. Because obviously the camera's like panning around. while he's speaking
Yeah,
to everybody. Like, you have a really good opportunity for him to just be like, "Oh no, now I'm a monster." Just have his eyes, like, pop out
absolutely. Like, the longer this
just
film
from his
goes on,
perspective.
the more the stipulations behind why the monsters and the clown comes out becomes vaguer and vaguer.
Yeah,
Which is a shame.
it's a big shame. I also forgot about it until, Italian Bro showed up, and I was like, "Oh, that's come back again. Okay."
Yeah, because up until then, you were riveted by this really interesting game of rock, paper, scissors of all
It's
games.
kinda yeah, it's kinda off-putting in the middle of the game for him to, because it's like, "Oh, he's turned into a monster, but he's still dealing with a card."
Yeah.
He's still got a card in his hand, and it just looks really funny.
uh, like, honestly, I'd much rather have preferred if the clown and the monsters wasn't a part of this at all, and it just started at the hospital and down, or him at work even with the friend coming to see him, going to the
Yeah,
hospital and going straight to the tanker.
yeah.
Alas, that's not what we got though.
No.
um,
They were like, "We need to make the clown a thing."
yeah. But also this the fact that he was shuffling the cards and giving them out. We've already seen he's really good at cards.
Yeah,
So, as the audience, we know not to trust him,
yeah.
and the lead knows not to trust him. So, he's paying attention to what the cards are, how he's dealing them, and whatnot. Um, he has more information than us, of course, because the main character and he understands them far, has a far greater knowledge of deduction than we do,
Uh-huh.
and we're only given a set amount of information, which is fair enough. We know to pay attention. Cool. Now, when it turns out, oh yeah, these are the cards that you got because you shuffle the cards in this particular way and you mark the cards. And if you're rewatching the film and you pay attention, you can see the bent out cards in every so often and how he managed to do that, which is really interesting. So the fact
Yeah.
that they paid that much attention, great, commendable. Great attention to detail. Fantastic. So
I don't disagree.
just reinforcing characteristics while, you know, paying off a lot of plans from earlier on in the film. It's great. It's it's good. Like this finale is very well executed.
I'm sorry, I'm getting sleepy.
No,
Ugh.
no, it's fine. Like if you need to head off, just let me know, and we'll stop for the day.
Okie dokie.
Sweet.
If we
How
go
sh-
past if we go past 11, then I'm probably gonna go because I actually have a job interview tomorrow.
oh my. Well, in that case, shall we do a part two to this? Because we're not going to be able to finish it in 15 minutes.
Okay. I mean, there's 30 minutes of it left to go, so we could always do like a thing where we finish up talking about it and then talk about another film as well.
Yeah, or, do
Because
like
I
we did with
don't,
the DC arc.
yeah, I don't think we're gonna take like another 3 hours to talk about it.
No, definitely not. We're definitely on the tail end of things, but it's
Yeah.
definitely going to take more than 15 minutes. That much
Okay.
is for certain.
I am just very sleepy. Sorry, everybody. You just have to wait for part two.
No, no, it's fine. We'll finish the rest of the film whenever we are free, and they will
Uh-huh.
be out week after week. Or
Mm-hmm.
whenever. Who knows? But we'll leave it at the point where he's shuffling cards and he
Yeah,
tosses the cards into the air, and we'll continue from that point onwards.
sounds good.
Sweet. So, if you're still listening, this is a very abrupt end to the episode. But hey,
Yeah, apologies. Some
but
of us
hey,
gotta sleep though.
ah, um, Now, honest, it's fine. This is a film I don't mind talking more about over time. So,
I'm happy to talk about it. Oh.
yeah. And I've been waiting 2 years to talk about this film with someone because you're the first other person I've met that's even heard of this film now. So it's great.
Awesome.
um, but yeah, we will give final thoughts and conclusions and the finale of this film in the next part.
Mm-hmm.
And until that point, we hope you enjoyed yourselves, and we shall
Yeah.
see you next time, whenever that may be. Take care, everyone,
Yeah.
and goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye bye. I'm waving. Bye bye.